trapped in metal. The ground shook as smoke rose from the battlefield. Broken ships burned, bodies lay still. In the middle of this wreckage, a young alien girl named Leora screamed for help. Her arm was stuck, no, glued, to a sharp metal sheet. It wasn't normal metal. It was alien tech alloy that had melted during the explosion. It had fused with her skin, holding her in place like a trap. She was just 17. Her eyes were golden, her skin a soft silver blue. Her body trembled from pain. The heat was gone, but the metal stayed, cold, hard, and unmovable. Around her, other survivors whispered, "She won't make it. Cut her arm off. There is no other way." Leora's heart pounded. She didn't want to lose her arm. But the pain, it was too much. Tears ran down her cheeks. "Do it. Just cut it. I don't want to feel this anymore," she cried. A voice interrupted. Calm, strong, human. "Hold on, let me take a look." Leora looked up. A tall human stood beside her. He had short brown hair, dirt on his face, and strange metal tools hanging from his belt. His name was Evan, a human field medic from Earth. The alien stepped back. "What are you doing, human?" one of them hissed. Evan ignored them. He knelt beside Leora and examined her arm carefully. "You fused with alien metal. That's nasty," he muttered. "But we're not cutting." Leora looked at him with confusion. You're not going to remove it?" "Not yet," Evan replied. "We don't amputate unless we have to, and I don't give up that easy." She blinked. Her people gave up in minutes. This human didn't. Evan opened a small case and took out strange tools. One was a scanner, the other looked like a heat knife. "This will hurt," he warned. "But I'll try to soften the edges first." Leora gritted her teeth. She nodded. He heated the edge of the metal, then gently ran the tool along the surface, trying to separate. Skin from alloy. Steam hissed. Leora screamed but didn't pull away. The pain was sharp, deep, endless. Still, Evan kept working. His hands were fast but careful. His eyes never left her wound. Other aliens watched. "It's useless," they muttered. "He'll fail." Humans think they're smarter, but Leora felt something different. Not hope exactly, but less fear. After 30 minutes, Evan sat back, wiping sweat from his forehead. "It's fused deep," he said. "This won't be easy, but I've got more tools." He poured a glowing blue gel onto her arm. It sizzled slightly. "This is human nanosalve. It eats the bonding layer, might loosen the metal, or it might sting like crazy." He wasn't wrong. The burning pain came instantly. Leora bit down on her own hand to stay quiet. Hours passed. The sun began to set. Evan didn't stop. He changed tools, cleaned wounds, and whispered quietly to keep Leora calm. "Why?" she asked once, in a weak voice. "Why are you doing this?" "I'm not human," he smiled. "Because you're alive, that's all that matters." She stared at him. No one had said that before. Later that night, an alien commander came. He saw Evan still working and shouted, "Stop this madness. You're torturing her." Evan stood up slowly. "I'm saving her." The commander drew his weapon. Leora suddenly screamed, "No, don't! He's helping me!" The silence that followed was heavy. The commander lowered his gun. He looked into Leora's eyes. Her face was pale. Her arm, still stuck, but her will to fight was stronger than ever. The commander said nothing. He turned and walked away. Evan looked down at Leora. "That was brave." She gave a weak smile. "So are you." He touched her forehead gently. "Rest, I'll keep working." As she closed her eyes, one thought filled her mind. Everyone else saw a lost cause, but this human, he saw a chance. The human refuses to cut. Leora woke up to a soft humming sound. Her eyes fluttered open. For a moment, she forgot the pain. Then it returned, sharp, stabbing, like fire crawling through her veins. Her arm was still trapped under the alien metal. But something was different. She wasn't alone. Evan, the human medic, sat beside her, his head resting against the wall, tools scattered on the floor around him. He hadn't slept. His hands were still gloved. The glowing nanosalve bottle was half empty. A scanner buzzed quietly in his lap. Leora whispered, Why are you still here?" He opened his eyes slowly and smiled. "Didn't feel like leaving." She looked at him, confused. "I told you to cut it off. You could have been done." Evan leaned forward. "I don't take the easy way. Humans don't quit when someone still has a chance." Leora's lips trembled. "But the other said it's over. The metal is in my blood now." He picked up the scanner and showed her the screen. "Yeah, it's deep, but see this line?" He pointed. "It's not spreading anymore, that's progress." Her golden eyes widened. "You stopped it?" He nodded. "For now. I froze part of it while you slept. Bought us time. Next, I'm going to try to peel it off layer by layer." Leora stared at him. This was madness, but it was the only madness that gave her hope. Suddenly, heavy boots stomped outside the tent. 2 alien medics entered. One of them, older and bitter, looked straight at Evan. "You're wasting resources," the alien snapped. "We have wounded soldiers. Why save her arm?" "She's a child," Evan replied, calm but firm. "And she's alive. She'll die anyway." The second alien scoffed. "Even if she lives, she'll be useless without a full arm. What's the point?" Evan stood up slowly. "The point is, we fight for every life, every part. That's what humans do." The 2 aliens looked at Leora, then turned and left without a word. Leora whispered, "They would have cut it without asking." Evan sat beside her again. "That's not how we do things." He reached for a strange tool. It looked like a tiny vibrating blade. "This is a bone harvester. Humans use it for delicate surgeries. It can slice metal without touching skin. If I'm careful." Her eyes widened in fear. "What if it slips?" He gave her a look of confidence. "Then I'll fix that too." Leora looked away, heart pounding. Her people had always said humans were dangerous, unpredictable, even violent. But this one, he was gentle in a way that scared her more than weapons ever could. As Evan began the next procedure, he spoke softly. "Back on Earth we had a miner once. Trapped under rock for 3 days, we didn't cut his leg, we moved mountains instead." "Did he live?" she asked. Evan smiled. "Yeah, walks with a limp now. But he walks." Minutes passed. Then an hour. The blade buzzed, slowly shaving the edge of the metal. Evan's hands never trembled. He used a magnifying visor, adjusting the depth every few seconds. Leora screamed once, but not from pain, from fear. The metal began to move. "I felt, it shift," she cried. "That's good," Evan said. "Means the bond is weakening." More time passed. Evan wrapped her fingers in warm foam to keep blood flow. He injected her wrist with a human healing serum. It glowed softly beneath her skin. Leora felt dizzy. What if it doesn't work? Evan didn't stop working. "Then we try something else." "You really believe that?" He looked her straight in the eyes. "I believe you'll walk out of here with both arms." Her heart ached. No one had ever believed in her like this, not even her own kind. Suddenly, there was a snap. Evan froze. The scanner beeped. One edge of the metal had separated. A crack had formed where none existed before. He looked at her. "We're getting close." Leora smiled, for the first time in hours. A real, weak smile. She was still in pain. But now she wasn't in despair. She whispered, "Thank you. Human." Evan chuckled. "The name's Evan." She nodded. "I'm Leora." They weren't healer and patient anymore. They were something else now. 2 lives joined by pain, stubbornness, and a growing sense of something neither could name, but both could feel it. Alien flesh. Human tools. The morning air was cold. A soft wind blew through the broken walls of the ruined medical tent. The battlefield had fallen silent, but inside the shelter, a A war was still going on. A war against time and alien metal. Leora lay on a thin blanket, her silver blue face pale, her golden eyes dull with exhaustion, her right arm still trapped in the strange fused metal that refused to let go. Evan sat beside her, staring at the scanner screen. His fingers tapped his chin as his eyes read every detail. The metal had fused not just to the skin, but to the nerve tissue beneath. If he made one wrong move, she could lose all feeling. Or worse, her heart could stop from the pain. He pulled out a small black box and opened it. Inside were human tools, some high-tech, some handmade. But one thing was clear. None of them were made for alien anatomy. Still, he whispered to himself, "We'll make it work. Somehow." Leora blinked, her voice weak. "You're talking to tools now?" He smiled. "Sometimes they listen better than people." He picked up a tool that looked like a long metal tooth. It vibrated when pressed against solid surfaces. Humans called it a molecular divider. It was used to open locked metal vaults, never on living bodies. "Is that safe?" Leora asked, fear in her voice. "No," Evan replied honestly. "But I modified it," she gulped. "Modified how?" "I lowered the vibration frequency. It will only affect metals, not soft tissue. At least, I hope." She stared at him wide-eyed. "You hope?" He chuckled nervously. "That's how all human inventions start." He placed the divider against the edge of the fused metal. Leora tensed. The moment he activated it, a low humming filled the room. The metal shimmered, vibrated, and for a second shifted. Leora gasped. "It moved," Evan nodded. "Yes, that's good." But then the scanner started to beep. A red warning flashed. "What is it?" she asked quickly. He looked at the screen. "The vibration is affecting your blood vessels. I need to lower it again." He adjusted the settings with trembling hands. One mistake, and she could bleed out internally. He tried again, this time slower. The metal buzzed and a thin crack formed along the edge where her skin ended. Leora bit her lip, tears forming in her eyes. "You really don't stop, do you?" Evan paused. "I've lost people before. I'm not losing you." She closed her eyes. "Why me? I'm not important." "You're alive," he said. "That makes you important." He switched tools again, this time a gel injector. He filled it with a mix of nanosalve and freezing compound. "What? Now?" she asked, exhausted. "Now I freeze the outer metal. Make it brittle." "Why brittle?" "So I can break it without hurting the soft tissue underneath." She didn't fully understand, but trusted him. He pressed the injector carefully along. The crack. The gel spread, turning the shiny surface of the metal into a dull white. A second later, crack. A piece broke off. Cleanly. Leora looked down in disbelief. "You did it. That piece is gone." Evan exhaled, smiling. "It's just one piece, but it's a start." But before he could celebrate, the scanner beeped again, fast, urgent. He checked it. His face grew tense. "What is it?" she asked, panicking. "The metal inside your arm, deeper, is reacting. It's heating up." She screamed as a burning pain rushed from her elbow to her shoulder. Her body began to spasm. "No, no, no. Stay. With me," Evan shouted. He grabbed a cooling pad and pressed it against her arm. He injected a sedative directly into her vein. "Why is this happening?" she cried. "The metal's reacting to air. Or the gel." "I don't know," he shouted. Alien tech is unpredictable. He leaned over her, hands moving fast, adjusting machines, applying pressure, cooling the arm again. After several minutes, the temperature dropped. Leora's breathing slowed. The danger passed. Silence filled the room once more. Evan sat back, wiping sweat from his brow. "That was close." Leora stared at him, her voice like a whisper. "You almost lost me." He nodded. "But I didn't." She looked at her arm. The fused part was still there, but now a small section was free. Skin showed beneath. A small victory. "You're insane," she said softly. Evan grinned. "Maybe, but I told you. I don't give up." Outside, night began to fall again. Inside, hope began to rise. The night of screams. The wind outside howled like a wounded beast. Darkness covered the ruined battlefield. Clouds moved across the broken sky, hiding the moons. Inside the old tent, a soft blue light glowed from Evan's portable lamp. He hadn't moved from Leora's side for hours. Leora was sweating. Her skin was hot, her breathing fast. The alien, metal fused to her arm, had started to react again, but not from the outside. It was something inside her body now. She tossed and turned, muttering strange words in her sleep. Her golden eyes opened for a second, then rolled back. She screamed. Suddenly, louder than ever before, Evan jumped. "Leora!" She screamed again, her back arching. The scanner next to her blinked red. "Her nervous system is overloading," Evan whispered. "This is bad." The metal was no longer just stuck. It was affecting her nerves, confusing her brain, sending false pain signals. It was as if the metal wanted her to suffer. Evan moved quickly. He injected another dose of sedative. It barely helped. Her body shook again. Then came the second problem, a sound from outside. A sharp whistle. Then footsteps. Shadows. Evan grabbed his light and peeked through the tent flap. 3 alien soldiers stood outside. Their armor was dark, their faces unreadable. One of them held a stun staff. The leader stepped forward. "We heard screaming," he said coldly. "She's in pain," Evan replied. "I'm handling it." "You've had long enough. She's disturbing the others. We were ordered to bring her to the quarantine tent." Evan stood firm. "She's not infected. She's healing." "Or dying," the alien soldier said. "Move aside." Inside the tent, Leora let out another scream, this one sounding more like a dying animal than a person. The soldiers flinched. "See? That's unnatural." "She's not dangerous," Evan snapped. "She's scared, she's in pain. That's all." But the soldiers didn't care. One stepped forward and reached for his weapon. Evan pulled out his own, a small human plasma cutter. Not for killing, but strong enough to threaten. "She stays here," he growled. The alien leader narrowed his eyes. "Are you really going to point that at us for her?" Evan didn't blink. "I told you, she's under my care. Back off." There was a tense silence. Finally, the aliens turned and left. Evan dropped the cutter and rushed back to Leora. Her body had gone still, but her eyes were open. She had heard everything. "You pointed a weapon. For me?" she whispered. He gently wiped her forehead. "I'd do more than that if they tried to drag you out." She blinked slowly. "They would have let me die." "But I won't," he said. Her breathing calmed, but then her arm twitched again. "It burns. Inside." Evan's hands trembled. The metal wasn't spreading. It was bonding deeper, trying to merge with her nerves. "This isn't just tech," he whispered. To himself, "This is biometal." He stared at the scanner and made a choice. A risky one. "I'm going to try something new. You won't like it." Leora gave a tiny nod. Evan pulled out a small electric wand, used on Earth to restart stopped hearts. He adjusted its voltage to minimum. Then, carefully, he pressed it near the base of her arm and fired a microshock. Her body jerked. The metal sparked. She screamed. Again, he pressed. Again, she screamed. Then something changed. The metal glowed, for a moment, then went dark. The scanner beeped and showed a drop in energy from the bonded metal. Evan looked at her arm. "I think I just knocked it unconscious," Leora gasped, breathing heavily. "Did it stop?" "For now," he said. "Like a snake hit in the head, but it might wake up." Leora chuckled softly despite the pain. "Your methods are crazy, but they work," he said. She smiled. "You didn't just save my arm. You fought for it." He looked at her gently. Because I knew you'd fight too. The night grew quieter. Leora closed her eyes, this time not from pain, but from real rest. Outside the tent, the soldiers never returned. Inside, two unlikely beings, a stubborn human and a broken alien girl, had survived something even war couldn't prepare them for. The bond between metal and skin was weakening, but the bond between two souls? That was only growing stronger. Alien tech breakthrough. Evan stared at the broken fragment of alien metal on the tray. He turned it slowly under the light, watching how it reflected, like it was still alive. Behind him, Leora slept. Her breathing was shallow but steady. The earlier shocks had calmed the metal inside her body. For now, but he knew that was temporary. The scanner beeped again. A new problem. The biometal was regrowing from inside. How can metal act like tissue? Evan whispered. He pulled out his datapad and opened the alien research files he had copied during the war. Deep in the restricted sections, he found something. Experimental bioalloy created by the Varnak species, designed to heal itself, to bond with organic hosts for battlefield repair. His blood ran cold. This was never meant to be removed. It was made to stay inside the body, to become part of it. He looked back at Leora. Her face was peaceful for now, but inside her arm, that metal was planning something. He needed to act. Fast. Evan walked to the equipment chest and pulled out two things, a human cryoblaster, used for freezing machinery, and a small alien crystal, taken from a destroyed Varnak lab. It pulsed faintly, still active. He didn't know what would happen if he combined the two, but he had no choice. As he prepared the tools, Leora woke up. Her voice was soft. It's growing again, isn't it? He didn't lie. Yes. And I'm going to stop it. For good. She looked at the crystal in his hand. What is that? Something from your people, he said. This alloy listens to it. She frowned. You're going to speak to the metal? Evan smiled. Sort of. I'm going to confuse it. He set up the equipment. First, he placed the crystal close to her arm. The metal began to glow faintly in response, like it recognized the energy. Then he took the cryoblaster and aimed it precisely. Leora's heart began to race. You're freezing it? Yes. If I can make it brittle, I might be able to crack it without hurting the nerves. And if it resists? She asked. Then I'll use the crystal pulse to distract it. It might weaken the bond for just a second. She bit her lip. 1 second? That's all I need, Evan replied. He activated the crystal first. The metal reacted instantly. It pulsed, moved. Then, it extended tiny wires across her skin, trying to hold on tighter. Leora screamed. Her body arched again. Now, Evan shouted. He fired the cryoblaster. A blast of blue ice hit the metal, spreading frost across her arm. The wires stiffened. He switched to a surgical scalpel and, with one fast move, sliced between metal and skin. A loud crack filled the tent. Large chunk of metal flew off. Leora collapsed back, gasping, blood dripped, but the metal was gone from that part of her arm. Evan checked the scanner. We got it. We got one of the main clusters. She blinked, half conscious. You did it. He wrapped her arm quickly. The wound was deep, but clean. It's not over yet, Evan said. There's still some near your shoulder. She nodded weakly. One step at a time. Hours passed. Evan worked in silence, using a mix of human medicine and alien tech. He used the crystal to keep the bioalloy distracted, and the cryoblaster to freeze small sections, breaking them off one by one. By dawn, he had removed nearly 70% of the fused metal. Leora could now move her fingers. Tears rolled down her cheeks, not from pain, but from relief. I never thought I'd feel my hand again, she whispered. Evan smiled. Told you? I don't give up. She looked at him, her voice breaking. You fought harder for my arm than my own people did. He sat beside her. Sometimes strangers care the most. They shared a quiet moment, and for the first time she believed it. Outside the camp, a storm was building. The wind howled across the dust fields, but inside the tent, something stronger was rising. Choice, courage, and a will that even alien metal could not crush. The story, The Changed Two Worlds. The storm outside the camp turned into a sand cyclone. Dust and wind tore across the ruins, howling like ghosts of fallen soldiers. But inside the tent, a stillness had formed, a breath held between life and death. Leora lay flat, strapped to the surgical table. Her face was calm, but her heart beat fast. This was it. The final piece of alien metal, now dormant, rested deep, near her shoulder. It was quiet now, but Evan knew the silence was dangerous. Like a sleeping monster, it could awaken any second. Evan checked his tools. His hands were steady, his mind clear. This was his most dangerous procedure yet. No backup, no fancy labs, no high-tech support, just a human, an alien, and a choice. Leora opened her eyes slowly. Is this really going to work? Evan gave her a small smile. I don't know. Honest. I like that, she whispered. He leaned down. If it doesn't work, I'll fix what I can, but I won't let you go. She looked at him. Then do it. Evan activated the pulse crystal. A gentle hum filled the tent. The metal inside Leora's body stirred, responding to the familiar energy. Then he fired the cryoblaster. One direct, deep hit. Leora screamed as cold shot through her veins. Her body shook violently. Stay with me, Evan shouted. The scanner blinked red. The metal was resisting. It began to pulse and expand, trying to fuse deeper into her tissue. Evan changed tactics. He activated a micro-laser and inserted it through a narrow surgical port he had made earlier. He whispered, just a few seconds more. The metal began to vibrate. A warning flashed. Tissue damage detected. Damn it, he muttered. He pulled the crystal closer, now using both hands to guide the laser while his voice talked softly into Leora's ear. You're stronger than this thing. Fight it. Don't let it win. Leora's back arched as the pain peaked. Then, a snap, the screen changed. Biometal signal, lost. Foreign mass disconnected. Evan stared at the display. We did it. He quickly withdrew the tools and applied regeneration gel to the wound. Leora was still. Her breath, shallow, her pulse, weak. No, 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 don't you stop now, Evan whispered. He placed both hands on her chest and began compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe, damn it, breathe. Her body didn't move. He injected a shock into her heart. Still nothing. Then, a gasp. Her chest rose. Her golden eyes opened. I'm still here? She asked weakly. Evan exhaled, shaking. Yeah, you scared the hell out of me. She smiled faintly. Scared myself too. He held her hand gently. For the first time since they met, her fingers squeezed back. 3 days passed. Leora began to walk again. Her arm was weak, covered in healing gel patches, but it moved. Her fingers bent. Her wrist turned. It hurt, yes, but the pain was hers. The story began to spread across the refugee camp. First whispers, then attention. The alien girl whose arm was saved by a human. Soldiers, doctors, and diplomats came to see. Evan stayed quiet. He didn't care about credit. But Leora? She was no longer quiet. I want to speak to the council, she said. Evan blinked. Why? Because no one should ever have their body taken from them, she replied. Not by war, not by command, not by fear. He nodded. Then let's make them hear you. The council gathered under a grand silver dome. They expected a scared girl. They found something else. Leora entered wearing a simple robe. Her hair was tied back. Her bandaged arm exposed, not as shame, but as proof. She stood before the ancient voices of her world and spoke clearly. I was told to give up, To accept the pain, to lose my arm. I was told no one could save me. She turned slightly. Evan stood behind her in silence, but one human refused to believe that. The alien. Leaders looked uncomfortable. Your laws would have let me die. Your doctors said I had no choice, but I did. I chose to fight. And someone stood beside me, not for profit, not for power, but because life itself mattered to him. Murmurs spread in the room. One elder stood. Are you saying we were wrong? Leora didn't hesitate. Yes, dead wrong. She held up her hand, slowly, shakily, but proudly. This arm was not saved by machines. It was saved by will. And that will was human. The news spread like wildfire. Across the sectors, soldiers and civilians watched the footage. A human medic using both human and alien tools, saving an alien girl no one believed in. Galactic channels replayed her words. Life matters. And sometimes strangers are the only ones who remind us of that. Young aliens sent messages to Evan. Some asked for help. Others just said thank you. One alien boy wrote, My people gave up on my broken leg. Now I want a human doctor too. The story changed minds. It didn't fix the war. It didn't heal all pain. But it opened a door, and through that door, a new chapter began. Weeks later, Evan and Leora stood under the sky together. The stars looked closer now. She flexed her fingers, watching them move. Still stiff? She said. Still there, he replied. She looked at him. Do you think the galaxy will actually change? He shrugged. One story doesn't change everything, but it starts something. She nodded. Then maybe we need more stories like ours. He smiled. You want to write them? No, she said. I want to live them. They stood side by side, once stranger and patient. Now, something more. Not lovers, not soldiers, just two beings who had chosen hope.